Welcome back to the F1 2018 career mode here, guys, and you join me for Season 3, and it's the Chinese Grand Prix, the third round of the season on the Formula 1 calendar. No upgrades coming to the car this weekend. However, we do have a major power upgrade in the works to arrive in Baku. It's looking like it's going to be overcast for quali and the race, but no sort of weather-based interruptions, no rain, no anything like that we actually saw quite a bit at the tail end of last season. So all in all, we're sort of looking okay at the moment. We are trying to get the car back on track and trying to get it back up to the head of the field, because of course Red Bull have taken over Force India, still running strong there, and Renault have bought some upgrades this weekend. So you can see here that we've got the major power upgrade is indeed in the works, and that should arrive, like I've said, for Baku on that really power-based street circuit. But hopefully we'll be able to go well here. Let's start with qualifying.
We'd like to welcome you from wherever in the world you join us today for this F1 qualifying session here in Shanghai, China.
So it's going to be our one and pretty much only run of the session. So we're going to see what we can do, as of course we're going to be setting our fastest lap of the entire weekend so far. So it's always satisfying to get Sector 1 at China right. Just chuck the car in, wait for the front to come round. Then you've got the difficult bit of 2 and 3. The front scrubbed wide ever so slightly, but it has still gone out wide there, and we're coming to the end of the first sector split. Where are we in relation to Sergio Perez? We are 4 tenths down on his time, but I wouldn't expect to be as quick as the Force India this weekend, because it's more hooked up, you know, but holding it nearly flat through the left-hander and then just having to come out wide on the right. We set a decent middle sector time, but we're still about a second down on Sergio there. So it's now all down to the power as we come through the back straight. Max engine mixture, overtake mode to get as much top speed as possible. We're already well over 200 miles now, 210. Building up to 15 nearly. We dropped it down to medium, but we do hit it. Then on the brakes, just before the 100-meter board, get it slowed down. Kiss the apex beautifully. Don't use the curb on traction, as that sacrifices speed. And then we've got to get the corner, the last corner to try. Once again, kissed it using all the curb and the run-up available. DRS wide open towards the line, and we end up only 8 tenths down. And it's a provisional P8 for the Chinese Grand Prix. So we did try going again. However, I couldn't actually set a better time. You can see it here into the hairpin. We took a lot of curb. Our delta time though is up, so you can see there that we're 3 tenths up on the previous lap, and I've already used all my ERS, so I gave up on the lap there and came into the pits for a quick tyre change and to try and go out once more. So once again, this is coming up to the tail end of the lap. This is my third run. Third new set of tyres, and once again you see in regards to the delta we've lost time. I don't quite know what happened. I think I just did such a good middle sector on my first lap that carried me, so I've abandoned this lap. It's looking like it's going to be P9. Let's get into Sunday.
Hard work, ingenuity and ambition. All things you'll find in abundance amongst the 15 million people of Shanghai over there to our southeast. And we've got plenty of that here on the grid as well. 20,000 horsepower, give or take, chomping at the bit to be unleashed for the Chinese Grand Prix. We start a lap here at Shanghai with the long, difficult right-handers of turns 1 and 2, the first of 16 corners that make up this 3.3-mile circuit. The incredibly long back straight provides the best passing opportunity of the lap, with speeds in excess of 200 miles per hour before the braking zone of turn 14. Joining me once again to take you through this race is the effervescent Anthony Davidson, and I'm very much looking forward to it getting underway. You raced here, of course, didn't you, back in your Super Aguri days in that infamous Chinese Grand Prix of 2007?
Yeah, that's right. I didn't last that long though, unfortunately. Qualifying had gone pretty well, but my brakes failed quite early in the race, around lap 10 or 11, something like that. And of course, back in 2004, I was the very first Formula 1 driver to complete a lap of this circuit. Just thought I'd mention that for you, Crofty, like a good stat. It's a fairly tough circuit on the brakes here, though. You know, it's that long back straight down into turn 14, and then you've got turns 6 and 11. They're quite heavy as well. On top of that, managing your front tyre wear is always a challenge around here, so there's a lot to keep in mind during the Grand Prix.
So before the off, let's remind ourselves of yesterday's qualifying session with a look at the starting grid. Sergio Perez will lead us away from pole position, with Esteban Ocon alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Ricciardo, Verstappen, Valtteri Bottas, and Vettel, Raikkonen, Hülkenberg, the captain, and Carlos Sainz. Alonso, Leclerc, Pierre Gasly, and Magnussen. Grosjean, Hartley, Stoffel Van Dorn, and Marcus Ericsson. Stroll and Sergei Sirotkin rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Okay, so here we are, P9 on the grid for the Chinese Grand Prix. For the first time this season, we are starting inside the top 10 and have to use the tyres that we qualified on. So we are going to be on the ultras and pretty much then have to commit to a two-stop strategy. Well, we've been making the one-stop work at Australia and Bahrain. Now, realistically speaking, from a strategy perspective, we could try and eke these out and go to mediums, but in all honesty, the ultras just deteriorate so quickly around this circuit, it really isn't worth it. So we're going to stick to the two-stop. We're going to put a bit more fuel in the car, just over a lap over, because this circuit isn't too bad on the fuel burn. So we're just going to try and see what we can do. It's about making the most out of this first stint and then, you know, making the soft tyres last while still getting the performance out of them. I think it always comes down to the middle stints in these Grand Prix. But let's build then with the lights for the Chinese Grand Prix. 5 red lights are on at Shanghai. And 5 lights are out, and away we go. And once again, awful getaway. One of the worst ones, actually, as Sainz pulls alongside. Alonso is next up on my left. We're going to swing around the outside of Carlos Sainz, and we're going to try see if we can hold it around the outside of Hülkenberg. Had to straighten the steering, though, so we weren't actually able to get around the Renault, and we've lightly tapped him in the rear, but looks like on the traction we haven't really lost that. Still in 9th place. The 2 Force Indias lead the way. Vettel and Raikkonen going side by side. Hülkenberg looking very slow into the braking zone of turn 6, and the door was left open. I came hurtling in. Wasn't really going to say no, so yeah, some emergency late braking akin to Daniel Ricciardo into that corner, but we've made the move stick and we are up into 6th position, and that puts us line astern. We go Noah's Ark, 2 by 2, the 2 Force Indias, then the 2 Red Bulls, then the 2 Mercedes, as Sergio Perez continues to lead the way, as he's pretty much done all season, aside from his retirement in Bahrain. So unfortunately, we don't really appear to have the pace of the top 5, and Vettel is very much in my slipstream come lap 3. The Ferrari man is going to try and challenge into the hairpin. I've pulled to the right hand side. Vettel doesn't appear to have much on his top end though, so we have successfully defended, albeit gone very deep into the hairpin, unless Vettel can cut underneath. We do make a tiny bit of contact though, but nothing too bad. We're now coming through end of lap 4. Can we successfully make a pit stop? Got very close to the wall. Just didn't make contact with it. I think there was, but no damage. So we're coming in now, and we are going to be making our first of the 2 pit stops. We changed to the soft compound tyre. 2.2, an excellent stop from the Ferrari boys. Back out ahead, and Verstappen has also been in. He's the car up ahead of us, as well as a Haas and a Renault have made their stop. So 21 seconds lost, all in all in the pit lane. And now it's about putting in the pace on these tyres, get them up to temperature, because of course there are cars in the midfield that are going to be a one-stopping. So those are the ones realistically that we need to make sure that we are more competitive than, because they're going to be the ones you'd think like your Gaslys and your Alonsos, the 2 that we've seen so far this season as competitive. So cars are in the pits, cars that have extended the ultra soft run. So there is Bottas coming out, and there is Nico Hülkenberg, and we've come into turn 1 with a lot more momentum than Bottas. We are currently closing the door, closing the gap, and we've snuck it down the inside of the extended turn 1 through turn 2. So Bottas left the door open. We just carried that much more momentum, and we've been able to sneak past our teammate. Daniel Ricciardo is out, and he's on ultra soft tyres. You may have seen it briefly there before we cut. So he's pulled ahead of Verstappen. We've set a personal best on a 34.8, but Verstappen just has more pace. And Ricciardo on those ultra softs is now going to be struggling to get through the midfield runners, essentially, as they battle for position. Speaking of battling for position, here comes Valtteri Bottas at the top end, just not able to get enough on me. Once again, though, we've gone very tight on the corner apex. That's hampered the acceleration. Can Bottas try and have a run? He's certainly going to have a look around the final corner, around the outside, but not able to get through. We run it out wide a little bit. Small bit of contact made, and that's pushed him back into one of the Ferraris, but I'm sure Bottas will try and have a run. In fact, next time around, lap 9, he certainly is. He's lining me up. Yellow flags, though, as we come down the straight, and there is a Williams of Sergei Sorokin with some smoke coming out of it, so he unfortunately has retired from the Chinese Grand Prix, and that stopped Bottas from having a run, so no complaints here. Sergei Sorokin out of the Grand Prix, as mentioned. So that's us up into 13th. Esteban Ocon appears to be on the medium tyre by the looks of things, so he extended his first stint, and he's going to try and go to the end of the Grand Prix, so kudos to him for getting that to try. Bottas, though, on lap 11 has got an excellent run out of the hairpin at the bottom of the hill, and he's trying to hold it all the way around the outside, and he just went on to a non-grippy part of the circuit and was not able to hold it there. Otherwise, that would have been a tremendous move. It's actually hampered my lines, though, through the double apex left-hander, and I'm giving away a lot of time in the middle sector here, but I have to stay ahead of Bottas to try and have a run later on in the Grand Prix at some of the guys doing the one-stoppers. Otherwise, I'm just going to fall through the field. But it is keeping Bottas up behind me, like I say, with the Ferraris and the Renaults. So now the end of lap 11, VSC deployed once again. I wonder what the cause of this one is. There's a pink dot not moving. It is a force in here, and Sergio Perez has stopped on the curb on the exit of the final corner. Is he out of the Grand Prix? I don't think so. He looks to have got moving again, but I don't know what he had, if he had some kind of tyre blowout or just stalled it. I'm not too sure what's going on there with Perez, but he's now behind this train of cars, which is led by myself, and so Bottas is now trying to have a run again around the outside of the long left-hander, but doesn't appear to have been too bad. We are now cruising up behind the Sauber of Marcus Ericsson to try and overtake him for 10th place. Of course, Ericsson is on the one-stop, so and he's obviously up behind other cars such as Stroll, and then you've got the Toro Rossos up ahead as Bottas tries to have a go down the inside into this chicane, but Bottas still not able to get through. He's just so much better on the traction and through the middle sector than I am, unfortunately. But we are retaining the position, thankfully, and we're now in the slipstream of Marcus Ericsson. This should be pretty easy with a bit of DRS and slipstream. Ericsson moves to the right-hand side, but not far enough. We will then just breeze past him in a straight line, and then I've braked very late. I sort of took the acute angle to make sure no one really got a run on me through the corner. Ericsson tries initially, but his soft tyres have been on even longer than mine. So cars are in the pits. Lance Stroll in for his one and only pit stop of the race, and here's more of the one-stoppers. So we've got Magnussen, looks like Leclerc, Alonso, Gasly, all those sorts of guys are in the pits. Could even be Brendan Hartley, as a matter of fact, were in the pits. So we are currently running P5 net. Van Dorn in the pits as well this time around, as well as Brendan Hartley. Yes, so it looks as if it was Gasly and Alonso last time around, and they will be on the mediums for the end of the race. But we've pulled a bit of a gap out now to Valtteri Bottas, as he appears to be battling the Ferraris. As Perez, whatever issues he's had have been resolved, and he's now on a charge with a 32.1, fastest lap of the Grand Prix. And up just ahead of me are the leaders of Ocon and Verstappen. So we're over halfway in this Grand Prix, and the two leaders I can still see them. So Verstappen coming in to change off the soft tyres onto another set for his second set, and obviously Ocon going on because he's on the mediums, going to be running to the end of the race. So let's see what the Ferrari or the Mercedes boys can do versus the Ferrari boys, as Vettel is just behind me. Is it another 2.2? 2.3, still a very good stop from the boys, not really costing me too much time there, as there we go, Verstappen, Magnussen, Hartley, Van Dorn all go past me. Gasly and Alonso already long gone. Leclerc's down the road as well. There goes Sergio Perez as well. But as you can see by the tyre indicator in the top left, he is on ultra soft tyres and will be pitting again. It hasn't gone Perez's way after he won in Australia. He retired in Bahrain, and then he's had his incident, whatever caused that, here this afternoon. So Sergio Perez not really able to capitalise on that form. So we've got Bottas and Raikkonen in the pits this time around. Vettel going to try and have a go into the hairpin. He's alongside, but he's on the outside, and he's not able to get the run. I stopped him from being able to cut underneath me. There goes Sergio Perez in for his final pit stop of the race as well. So we're not really going to see him for the rest of the afternoon unless he's very quick in his final stint. Where are we going to come out in conjunction to Bottas and Raikkonen? Bottas comes out. We're going to have to sweep into turn 1, fully committed though. And that could have been very nasty indeed. But thankfully, two professionals kept it together and we stayed ahead of Valtteri Bottas there. So, all pit stops are over with. We do a personal best of a 33.5. It's 1.2 better than our previous best lap. And we have now foot to the floor. Our goal is to get ahead of that papaya orange McLaren of Fernando Alonso. We're going to have to start, though, with his teammate. Currently in 9th, Stoffel Van Dorn. It looks as if Verstappen's trying to get through this traffic as well, as he has passed both Magnussen and Hartley already, whereas we are now up behind Van Dorn. So down the pit straight as we start lap 20. DRS enable with a bit of rich mix, and we should be able to make a move into turn 1. That's exactly what we've done. And now we wait for the car to swing through. So that is one position gained up into 9th. And we put Van Dorn between ourselves and Bottas and the Ferrari. So now, like I say, our main focus is to gain position. So Hartley and Magnussen battling through the final corner. That's hampered Hartley's exit. While we don't have DRS, we weren't close enough. We're going to try down the straight, although Hartley has the slipstream and DRS versus Magnussen. I try and stick my nose in versus Hartley, but we just slow it down and we just take, because we're on the softer tyres, we're able to take a more aggressive, more acute line through the corner, and we were able to pass both of them. And then we're now gone that much later on the Grand Prix because we've been hunting down Charles Leclerc in his Sauber, and come lap 25 we've caught the Monegasque driver and we've dived it down the inside of him through turns 1 and 2. He tried to defend and cut me off, but I'm going to muscle my way through there, Charles, unfortunately. So we are now up lap 25. We've got up to 6th place. Bottas there is through as well, up into 8th. So hopefully he will catch Leclerc before the end of the Grand Prix. He's having a look at me into turn 6. I can't really blame him, but we are the faster car, faster package. And then I've been pretty much foot to the ground using rich mix and high on the RS. And we've only got 2 laps remaining, lap 27 of 28. And we still have Alonso and Pierre Gasly up ahead of me. That will be the difference between 4th place and 6th place in this Grand Prix. I need to utilise my speed in the 1st and 3rd sectors against these two, while trying to not lose too much time in the middle sector, because of course the tyres are getting worn, and that's going to bring them more on par with the mediums they currently have on their car. And you can see by the end of lap 27 I'm not that close, but thankfully Gasly and Alonso now battling into the hairpin. That's going to cost them time, and that's what I need, because it's going to come down to a last lap showdown versus Gasly, Alonso and myself, as we have DRS coming into the final lap of the Grand Prix. It's going to be do or die, so we need to keep our foot down. Oh, but Gasly, we got the record, we got the news from Jeff. Gasly appeared to have a mechanical problem. It appears his rear's completely locked up into turn 1. That put Alonso, if he got out of the throttle, we had more space to react, and we went round the outside of Alonso and stayed, kept our car wide, and of course didn't hit Gasly. So we've been able to keep the position. Apologies that I didn't react sooner, but we were getting the message on the radio from Jeff as we saw it unfold in front of us. So Gasly, it was building up to a last lap battle, and yeah, the last lap battle didn't happen due to an issue. But Esteban Ocon, on his, of course, one-stop strategy, has won the Chinese Grand Prix from Daniel Ricciardo and Max Verstappen in 3rd place. We bring it home. Bottas gets past Alonso in the hairpin on the final lap. We come across the line. It's P4 once again.
Thank you for all your hard work out there. That was a strong drive and a good finish. Well done.
It's time to present the top drivers with their trophies for today's Grand Prix. And there are a lot of people in the paddock very happy with this result. It's Force India on the top step.
So there's Esteban Ocon, P1 after his one stop. Daniel Ricciardo was hunting him down, only 1.3 seconds off come the end. And obviously you saw Ocon, because he was on the medium for most of that race, didn't really set a lap time in the 33s. But just kept on going. Kudos to him. Daniel Ricciardo, an excellent drive though to P2. He's looking to be formidable this season. Max Verstappen solidifying that with a third place finish in his Red Bull. Then we got the two Mercedes, myself leading Valtteri Bottas home 4th and 5th. Quite even on pace, I think we were over the course of the Grand Prix. Then Alonso, top of the midfield one-stoppers there in 6th place. Very good drive from Fernando. And Charles Leclerc bringing it home ahead of both Ferraris in the end in 7th place. Raikkonen end up with 8th on his 2-stop. Then Magnussen and Van Dorn close out the points. Vettel not even getting a point in P11. And Vettel's pace must have really dropped off come the end. But Perez finished down in 16th place after 4 pit stops. So, coming out of China, Daniel Ricciardo leads the championship by 27 points. He already has a race win in his pocket over me in 2nd place with 34 points. Max Verstappen then with 30 in 3rd place. Then comes Ocon on 29. Perez still no points since his win in Australia on 25. Then Raikkonen on 6th in 23 points. Bottas up to 7th with 22 points. Vettel down in 20th. Then Pierre Gasly with a fantastic run in his Toro Rosso. Really best of the rest there on the 18 points. So fantastic job so far from Gasly this season. So there's Red Bull top of the standings with 91 points already. Next up is Mercedes on 56 points and Force India on 54. So it's a real scrap for behind Red Bull. But let's catch up with Claire after the race.
Great work out there today. How do you think it went? You gained a lot of positions during the race, didn't you?
Yeah, and I think that's down to just pushing flat out. It was definitely quite exciting closing in on the midfield guys at the end.
You really looked in control of your car out there. Your team must be thrilled.
I think they're just happy that we can finally get some results just by pushing, really.
How do you think your rival feels about today?
We'll see. You know, things are getting a bit heated, but if it comes down to a championship battle, may the best man win.
So talk us through what happened between you and your rival today.
We just, you know, pushed each other. That's all it is, really.
Appreciate your time.
So, coming out of the race, we have 1,673 resource points. So, we're just going to take a little look at the R&D development tree. Specifically, like I say, the powertrain, because that's the one we're looking at currently. I'm curious to see what our next step is going to be once we get that major power upgrade come in at Azerbaijan. So, that one should be coming in, like I've said, next race. So, we've got the major upgrade, which could be possible if we go up from there. But, of course, we have the ultimate upgrade at the end. That's where we stand at the moment with regards to full R&D. But like I say, when we come looking into the whole tree, the major one's going to cost us around 1,600 and the ultimate around 2,000 or just over 2,000 as a matter of fact. But that one, of course, take an extra week to develop. So that's kind of where we're looking at the moment with development of the car going forwards. But of course, I think we'll see how it goes in Baku. That will be important. And then, of course, we go into the European season. We start getting into Spain, Monaco, then of course we step out again for Canada, and then we come back like into France. So we'll see. It's looking exciting. You know, Red Bull look to be the formidable foe. I mean, Force India look to have the pace, however their reliability potentially proving to be an issue. But guys, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. Leave a like down below if you did, and of course comment any feedback. Next time out, as mentioned, we have Baku, which is my least favourite circuit to drive, albeit it could be quite good for our car. So we will see. I want to be able to take the fight to at least Red Bull, because obviously Force India, it's really sort of hard because, you know, Red Bull apparently, according to the chart, are the fastest team, but Red Bull appear to be, or they're the fastest team according to the chart, but Force India appear to have the pace. So who knows, really? Who knows? But be subscribed and enable them notifications to be kept up to date with the content coming to the channel. I thought Bottas was just going to ignore that dude there, but no, they had a lovely little exchange. And yes, I will see you all next time.